right, welcome back to another edition of Live from Red Hook here at the Funktion House. My name is Mike Gentili. I'm along here with Anthony Vitale, and we are pleased to welcome our very special guest to the show tonight, the Muzikman Edition.
Yes, sir.
No stranger to the Funktion House.
Big
Not at all.
supporter.
Yes.
Been coming down for a long time now.
Very long time.
You caught some cool shows here, right?
I have. I really like what you guys are doing here.
Thank you, man.
I said that before.
Who was the first show that you came and checked out with us?
Might have been, actually, it might have been AV, who's like right behind me.
Okay. Yeah, AV, I think he kicked off one of our seasons, right?
Yeah.
Did he kick off one of our
I think it was season 2.
Season 2?
Yeah, I came with him.
He's here tonight.
He's here.
Shout out to AV.
Yeah.
So what's up? Talk to us, man.
Talk to you.
I want to know from the very beginning how you started. What made you get into this? Why'd you pick this craft?
Why? Well, this will tell my age. I used to listen to Chuck Chill Out and Red Alert on the radio on Kiss FM. That's now defunct. And I wanted to do what they were doing. But actually, I have a little story about that. So before all of that, I went to this guy's house, his cousin's house, this guy named Jermaine. Went to his cousin's house, and his cousin was a DJ, right? And, you know, he got on, he was scratching the vinyl and all that stuff. He's like, here, you try. So I went on, I just went crazy, you know, needle jumped everywhere, and everyone laughed at me. So from that point, I was like, yeah, I'm going to prove everyone wrong. And then...
At what age were you when this happened? 15, 14?
I was maybe 17-ish, something like that. Yeah.
So that's how you got the bug.
That's how I got the bug. Totally.
So what was the progression like? Equipment, like what was your first, like, you know, we all started there.
You already
right?
know. You already know. So I borrowed my sister's little portable turntable.
Yep.
Right, and I put like some wax paper on there, and I just started scratching with that. And then because of the songs on the radio that I heard on the radio, like Dougie Fresh and Friends and those type of things, I went and bought one copy of those records, and then I recorded it on cassette so I could pause, catch the beat, you know, catch the beat on the cassette, and then play it again on the turntable. And I practiced like that.
Really?
For a long time, yeah.
The cassette decks.
Yes.
Pause button mixtapes.
Exactly.
That was such a different time, right?
It totally was.
Like it was hard work. You know?
It was a lot of work because you really had to have good timing.
Yes.
And when I was in high school, I played drums for a little bit. So that helped with my timing. And throughout school, we had music programs, so that was also very helpful. I don't know what's happening with schools today, but that's another topic.
Yeah. I mean, I think there are some schools, we were talking about this just last week. There's a school,
John Dewey High School.
John Dewey High School.
Massive sound.
And they're like really focused on the arts, like music,
Good.
culinary.
Yep.
They put in
Good.
like what they spent like
put a $2 million kitchen in the school.
You
So
know,
is that like a what they used
It's
to call a vocational school?
No, it's a public high school. Yeah.
And now they're just there's a teacher who was actually a DJ.
Interesting.
His name's Joe Perez.
Okay.
We know him.
Right.
And he is a principal there. Is he a principal
I'm
there,
not
or
sure
he was
what
like an
his-
assistant principal? And he was
his
just
position
like,
is.
you know, a big supporter
They
of
have a
like
dance.
pushing.
They have a dance program also in the school.
You know,
Really?
pushing the arts, and they're doing it.
That's fantastic.
So
That is fantastic.
which is cool. You know, that's important.
So what was like some of the clubs that you first started working in back in the day?
Honestly, none.
No?
None. I would stay at home and practice all the time. I was actually in a few DJ battles, so
Oh, so you really took the scratching to.
to a different level.
So it's crazy. You're warming up and you're playing like all these hip hop original samples, but you play dance music.
I played dance music. Yeah, I was introduced to dance music by this guy named Mr. Onester back in the day, like 89, 90, something like that. And the first record I got introduced to was Jungle Wands. It was on this Green Tracks label. And it started from there. But, you know, he taught me, you know, how to match the beats. And he also taught me, you know, when you're making a tape, you fast forward to the end and you hit 0. So when you rewind it and you're recording, you know you're close to 0 on the cassette, so you can stop playing. So that was one of the things he taught me there.
So what were some of the battles that you entered?
The very first battle I entered was the As One DJ battle, along with AV, and Rock Raider was in that. I can't remember who else, but it was some notable names in there. And then there was I entered the Fat Beats DJ battle, and I think I made it to the next round of the As One DJ battle, but I didn't have any more stuff because I didn't know what it was like. I had no idea, so I didn't want to go and do the same thing, so I left.
Yeah, building those routines are a lot of work.
It's a lot of work, man.
So were you getting your hands on like the DMC tapes and watching those tapes? And
Sometimes I watch them, but now with YouTube, you can see all kind of stuff.
well, I'm saying like
Yeah, I'm
back.
saying
back then?
Yeah,
Yeah.
back then.
No, I never did. My only access was the radio. So whoever was on the radio, that's who I would follow. That's who I would learn from.
Isn't it crazy how like, you know, like back in those days, like there was no resources to go to actually like today, you know, like you need to know how to figure out how to do anything. You just
Yes.
go to YouTube.
Go to YouTube.
You're watching a
That's it.
video, and that's how you could pick it up like super quick. But years ago,
Totally.
it was just like it wasn't. You know, like you actually had to physically go places. Where
Yeah.
You had to get a tape from somebody.
Right.
Because even like getting the tapes weren't always so accessible.
Right.
You know.
Right.
So it's like, so it's crazy. I mean, you still have to put in the work today if like you want to.
You still have to put in the work.
Except there's other, you know, it's easier to sort of pick things up. I think.
Well, people show you how
There's
to do
a-
scratches
there's
on
a lot of
online.
content online now.
Yes.
Back then, like you said, there was no place for us to look at that content unless you went to a battle or you went somewhere. So any of the DJs from back then, those were their ideas. Those
Right.
scratches, the cuts, you know, the chops, the chirps, flares, all that stuff. Those were their ideas.
Yeah, there was somebody in the studio last week that we grew up with as a DJ, and he was an unbelievable scratching DJ.
Right.
And what he was telling us was that he actually, we're not going to name who it was. Maybe when he comes on the show, he'll tell the story. But he was telling us how he had an uncle that was like into electronics.
Yeah.
And he actually hacked a crossfader so that the chop was really short. So
Oh,
he was
man.
doing all these cuts. And It was
Right.
because he had a modified crossfader that gave him that edge. And nobody knew. And
Wow.
his scratching techniques were unbelievable.
Yeah,
But
they
that
were.
was his edge.
There was a mixer like that everyone used to use. I don't remember the model, but it was a line switch.
Right.
I mean, you can listen to some hip hop records, I would say in the early 90s,
They have the popping sound.
and it had the popping sound. So you could use the line switch to, I think even like Molly Marr, somebody like Molly Marr was
it
using
might have
that
been
too.
the Gemini.
Well, the
Could have been.
the GLI mixer had like this silver switch. That was pretty good for.
Was that the 9000?
It might have been.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, mine got stolen, man.
Yeah. That was a hot mixer.
Yeah.
That was a hot mixer.
Right out of the car, it got stolen.
So do you still practice routines like for the hell of it?
When I can, I do.
I know you're still into the music.
Yeah, I still practice when I do. There's actually a scratch I want to learn called the boomerang scratch. It's really difficult.
Do you know the flare scratch?
Yeah, I could do the flare.
It's a tough scratch.
Yeah.
The flare
I know a
is.
few scratches, but those scratches I know now are basic.
I know.
This boomerang scratch I'm telling you about, it's not basic because it's, let me see if I can remember. I think it's, you move the fader across, you pull the record back, move the fader back, and then you push the record forward, something like that. But you have to do it fast.
Yeah.
That's why it's called the boomerang.
It's tough to explain.
Yeah.
How amazing is it though? Like, I mean, me personally, I was never a scratching DJ.
Right.
But when we started the show and we had all these DJs that were rolling in here and everybody was scratching, it made me want to learn how to scratch.
Learn. Yeah.
So I would say over the last 3 or 4 years, I've been practicing because I love the art of it. Right.
Right.
And it's amazing how, you'll practice for so long and then one day it just clicks. And then it's just like, oh my God, and then it becomes like second nature, like you figure something out.
Yeah.
That's probably like one of the best feelings as a DJ when you pick up something like that.
Totally. I think when I used to practice, it used to be about 6 hours on one thing.
You forget. You just keep going.
And one thing that the kids don't get these days is ashy records. That record, when you scratch so much, the vinyl just gets so worn out. It's like, And Good Times was actually one of my records by Chic. So, it get to the good time, it would go times, like that, because you're scratching that part so
So
much.
were you mimicking the Grandmaster Flash, right? Grandmaster Flash used to do the back and forth routine on that.
Yeah, he
record,
used
right?
to.
With the instrumental.
But I wanted to be faster than all those guys, so I practiced it on 45, so I would get it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's tougher on 45.
Yeah, it's much tougher
Yeah,
on
I
45.
kind of want to hear. I kind of want to hear your battle skills right
I'm rusty, man.
now.
You don't want to hear that.
Maybe after hours.
I think we're going to rip out the CDJs. up there.
Honestly, I was debating on if I should use vinyl or CDJs, and I figured I would just use my business mind and go with the house music stuff because that's doing a little better for me than the hip hop. And talking about that, I was doing I was actually handed a radio show by AV, who's sitting back there. It was called The Underground Railroad with Jay Smoot. And since 1999, I've been breaking underground hip hop since then.
Wow.
Oh, so you're still doing it?
Well, we stopped. It was another whole issue with the station, but we stopped maybe over a year ago.
Oh, that's a long running.
Yeah.
a
Yeah,
long
we were the
slog.
longest running.
So it was
hip-hop
purely
show.
dedicated to underground hip hop?
Well, mostly underground hip hop. I would play in some shows. I'd play all old stuff,
Okay.
or I'd play classics, or I'd break up the show and play classics in the first hour, and then in the second hour I play like all new hip hop. Some shows I would play entire show 2 hours of new hip hop, like
Wow.
stuff people haven't heard. So I broke a lot of records on that show.
So would you get an abundance of like tracks, like people like,
To be honest with you, and this is the part that upsets me a lot, is that I get some music, but I would look through iTunes and just buy their music, just to support hip hop.
Yeah.
I would just buy the music, but those same people, I couldn't get them to come up to the show, or they just wouldn't reach out or anything. So it was a thankless job. I enjoyed it, but it was really thankless, and that's why I decided to go with house music at this point, for this show. Because, last year I went to London. I was there for 4 days, and the amount of love I got shown over there, it makes me emotional, honestly. So I appreciate it.
Are you working on any music?
Yeah, I have a record label, Exemplary Music Makers, and I've been in business since 2010. AV also, he does my graphics, all the covers. So if you need graphics, just look at that guy right back
All
there. But
may have to hit them up.
yeah, I had a bunch of hits on Traxsource, top 10s, and I have a lot of tracks on deck, a lot. Actually, Lee, she played one of our tracks called Songbird,
Yes, I heard that.
by Tweety and us on Open Bar Music. I've done a lot of remixes for like Terry Hunter, Kenny Dope. who are also my friends.
Yep.
You know, as well as Jazzy Jeff. Those are also my friends too.
So how often do you spend time in the studio?
Every chance I get, honestly, every chance I get, and you know, I get a little heat from it from my lady friend, my girlfriend. But you know, I try to spend every moment creating music. I love it. I absolutely love creating music.
Yeah. Do you ever have to like spending so much time in the studio? You ever have to like walk away like when you're like making a track like where you sort of get fatigue of the ears? Does that happen?
Yeah, I just turn on my Xbox and start playing Destiny. Then you know that takes some of the pain away.
I'm sure your girlfriend's not too pleased about you playing Xbox either.
Not, she's not. I know. I can feel her eyeballs on me right now.
So what are you using equipment-wise to make music?
Honestly, I have an old Mac, a Mac Pro Tower, and I use Ableton. And that's all I got. That's it.
That's all you need.
That's all I got.
Yeah, everybody seems to be gravitating. I mean, that's for a long time, but a lot of people use Ableton.
It's, you know, the Ableton grabbed me because of the time stretching capabilities. It's just so user friendly. So it was so easy to just pull a sample in, and change the pitch, the key, change the tempo, and just work with a sample like that. And I like using samples, so that's usually the base of my productions. Sometimes I pull out the sample because I have so much music in there, but that's usually the base. And Ableton was just the best thing for me.
I'm sorry.
I started with Logic, by the way.
Yeah, I was going to ask you.
Yeah, I started with Logic. And before that, there was this program on this little computer box that with terrible hardware. It was called The Creator. It was on the Atari. Have you ever heard of it? No.
Oh, no.
I've heard of it.
Yeah,
Yep.
it was an Atari. Terrible hardware, but the software was purchased by eMagic, which is now Logic.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember when Apple bought Logic,
Yes.
you know, because like when it was just eMagic, it was super expensive.
Yeah, and then Apple
doubt.
bought it, and I paid $200 for it.
And then Apple bought it, and they sort of redefined the whole.
I was really
thing of-
upset by that, honestly.
of just putting it, you know, packaging it together as one
Yeah.
whole thing and letting everybody. That was like, you know, they were like one of the first to do that, I think.
Yeah. At the time, a lot of us were upset with Apple because of the price.
Well, how much did you
Of it.
pay for Logic?
I won't say.
It was expensive. It was
It was like $2,000, right?
well,
It was a lot.
Definitely
Because
over
you had-
1,000 in the beginning.
You had to get that outboard MIDI device.
Yeah, the MIDI timepiece.
The MIDI timepiece. There you
Yeah.
go. Yeah, you had to get that piece. Plus, you had to get an audio card to go along with it. So it was expensive, very expensive. Along with the computer that I have, it was expensive. I'm still paying for it.
Well, you had to be committed, right? I mean, you had it. It was you know it was a sizable investment,
Yeah.
and you know today it's you know you have a laptop, you slap a program on the laptop, and you're making music.
You can make
within
music.
minutes
For
you know?
sure. For sure.
So hence why we have such a saturation of music.
Right. Right.
So you're sitting on a bunch of tracks. Is there like a strategic way you release music on your label? You like every other month, every month?
Well, here's how it works for me. As I'll create the track up to maybe 3/4, a little bit more of the way, and then I'll speak to my graphics guy, who's back there again, and when he comes up with the graphic, it inspires me to finish the track. Like it's just because you know when he does the artwork, he goes above and beyond, and it feels like he knows what I'm thinking. So it just helps with the track. It helps inspire me to finish the track. So I have a bunch of tracks like that. I have a lot that are finished now, but it's just I have to get the artwork done.
Who are some producers that you follow and that you look up to and maybe would like to make a track with?
Honestly, DJ Spen is one of those guys for sure.
Ties.
Yeah, for sure, DJ Spen. I would like to see how actually Charisma thinks as well. Louis Vega as well, who surprised me because I didn't realize he actually plays keys. I didn't know he was like the keys part of the Masters at Work. And I'd like to do something with Kenny Dope, but he's real busy. He's super busy. Him and Louis I think they're working on an album and some other stuff. So he's constantly touring and whatever. But
this time of year, everyone's out.
Everyone's out,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody makes the trek to Ibiza.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. Oh, actually, you know, OP, who's back there as well.
Yep.
Him and I are working on something that's going to be pretty nice.
Nice.
Yeah.
What is it?
It's a track. It's a track. It's a track.
Cool.
So what do you have in store for us tonight at the Function House?
Well, I'm going to go back in time a little bit. I want to try to tell a little bit of a story with the set. And then some of the tracks are just some songs I really like.
You're gonna play some original tracks?
Maybe.
All right.
Maybe.
All right, we're gonna take a 2-minute break. We're gonna get Music Man up on the set. It's gonna rock live from Red Hook here at the Function House. Peace.
Peace.
We got Muzikman Edition live from Red Hook here at the Function House.
Stand up and tell everybody I got 'em. 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 Stand up.
I do. You see, girls, this man is not like other men. And the reason I say this is because I know every lady out there today feels the same thing. Every lady feels that her man is special. He's special to her. No matter how he looks, baby, it's the inside that counts. It's what's up front that counts. Ooh! I'm gonna tell it to you anyway. Huh. You see, girls, let me ask you something. Have you ever had any so-called best girlfriends? You know them kind. Laugh in your face and try to take your man behind your back. Woo! You know what I'm talking about. You know where I'm coming from, but let me tell you something. Let me tell you something. I don't play around with girls like that. You know, I don't really like to socialize with them. Because I feel like this. What's mine is mine. What's yours is yours. You see, I don't want nothing that's yours. I don't want nothing that looks at you. You see, I know I got my man. Woo! Honey, I know I got every little parts of it. Huh. Don't I know what I got? Huh? I know what I got. But let me tell you, girls. You see, when you got somebody that loves you, you know they love you. You can stand up here like me and tell the whole wide world that I got my man. 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 I know I got mine.
They didn't believe in dancing. They didn't believe in speaking in other tongues. Beans, greens, potatoes, tomatoes, lamb, ram, hog, dog. 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 They didn't believe in dancing. We gon' put you out of my church. Somebody say yeah. Somebody say yeah. Somebody say yeah. Somebody say yeah. People clap your hands. People clap your hands. People clap your hands. Hands on yeah. Hands on yeah. Hands on yeah. People clap your hands. 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 Hands on yeah. They didn't believe in dancing. They didn't believe in speaking in other tongues. Beans, greens, potatoes, tomatoes, lamb, ram, hog, dog. Beans, greens, potatoes, tomatoes, lamb, ram, hog, dog. Beans, greens, potatoes, tomatoes, lamb, ram, hog, dog. Beans, greens, potatoes, tomatoes, lamb, ram, hog, dog.
They used to laugh at me, but I saw the future. Record company recession, dance floor boredom, and copy machines spit out song after song. But I see the future. Record company recession, dance floor boredom, and copy machines spit out song after song. And copy machines spit out song after song. And copy machines spit out song after song. They used to laugh at me, but I see the future. But I see the future. But I see the future. Record company recession, dance floor boredom. Record company recession. Record company recession. Dance floor boredom. And copy machines spit out song after song. And copy machines spit out song after song. But ain't copy machines spit out dance floor boredom. They used to laugh at me, but I saw the future.
There's brutality. Come on, talk to me so you can see what's going on. Yeah, what's going on? Tell me what's going on. I'll tell you what's going on. What's going on? Yeah, what's going on? Tell me what's going on. I'll tell you what's going on. Ooh. Right on, baby. Right on. Right on, baby. Right on, baby. Come on. Right. Right on. Oh, shit.
With all the people crying in the streets, can't you see it's time for unity? Can't you see we're heading into a danger zone? Don't you think it's time for the right song for us all? Yeah, yeah. Music release the mind from frustrations, brings people together, give them motivation. Can't you see we all need to be one family with a universal love? Now the time's begun for us all. Yeah, yeah.
I will not be denied. Take my chance on the rocky road to anywhere. Everyone has a price in the life. Don't be down, smiling face in the rays of survival. I may drop, I won't stop. I will not be denied. Take my chance on the rocky road to anywhere. Everyone has a price in the life. Don't be down, smiling face in the rays of survival.
put a seashell in my ear and it all comes back. The yellow sun, the Mediterranean blue, the sky, the children running on the beach that day. Killdeer birds marching in formation down to the sea and back, down to the sea and back. When my memory wanders, as it does when bad things happen, I put a seashell to my ear and it all comes back. That day. Put a seashell in my ear and it all comes back. The yellow sun, the Mediterranean blue, the sky, the children running on the beach that day. Killdeer birds marching in formation down to the sea and back, down to the sea and back.
glad he blessed me that way. Someone funky brother. Now when I'm talking about the funk, I'm not talking about a smell, you know what I'm saying? I'm talking about a groove. It's a groove that most brothers can't achieve. You know what I'm saying? You got to be funky to get some of this, you know what I'm saying? To understand a groove like this, you got to be funky. And if you ain't funky, I don't worry about it. Because you can't understand my groove. My groove is so complex, you know, it comes from a way back, you know. Like I said, George Clinton, James Brown. Yeah, back in them times. You know. When funk is all we had, you know what I'm saying? You know, God made me funky, and I'm glad He blessed me that way.
was a great set, man.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
You played one of my favorite songs.
What was that?
Let's Start the Dance.
Oh, yeah. That's a difficult record to mix.
French
Very
Kiss,
difficult.
French Kiss is always a hit too, man.
Yeah.
There we go. So how do people follow your music? Is it Muzikman Edition across the board?
Across the board. Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Muzikman Edition. That's how you
A
find me.
little bit about the second play for us tonight. You touched a little bit of.
Yeah, I was going a little old school. I was throwing some new stuff in there. I
Yep.
was just trying to span my career. I mean, you know, I'm going to be 50 Friday.
Really?
Yes, I'm going to be 50 Friday, so it's going to be my milestone.
Happy birthday.
Thank you.
Happy birthday, man.
We should have did a birthday event here for you then.
Yeah, you know, that's all right, man.
So there
This
was,
is good enough for me.
Milestone.
Yeah, it's a huge milestone, man. So I just wanted to play some stuff that I was able to play throughout my career and forward, you know. And I played a few of my things in there. That Marvin Gaye was
That's
That was
hot.
I
added
was
a
gonna-
dead, yeah.
that was really
Yeah.
dope.
We're gonna leave that somewhere.
Yeah, you guys can have it. You can have it.
You should share that with some people.
I
It's-
am.
it's a
I
nice
am.
Track.
I
That
am.
was- that
I'm gonna
was-
shoot it out to everybody.
Yep.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, listen, we appreciate you coming down to the Function House.
Yep.
Pleasure.
You did your thing. You played a great set,
Thank you.
and we thank you for that.
We'll
My
see
pleasure.
you again. All right.
Yes, for sure.
Come
And thank
check
you
in
for
on
your
us.
support.
Always, always.
Thanks for tuning in.
Thank you, everybody.
The Muzikman Edition.
Yes,
Newest
thank
thing
you.
at the Function House. Good night, and we'll see you next week.
Peace.
Peace.
Peace.